So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience studying abroad in France, and also I'm going to give some advice to people who might be studying abroad in France, and like basically I'm going to talk about like what I wish someone told me before I went to France. So I studied abroad from September 2018, and then I got back around like the last week of June in 2019. So I was there for 10 months and I went to Lyon, France. So I went through my university's Go Global program, and I think most universities have some sort of Go Global program, but basically with my program, you have to rank the top 3 programs or like top 3 schools you want to go to. So I ranked Lyon first, and then I think I did Paris and Switzerland like second and third. And the reason why I chose Lyon over Paris was basically like Lyon, the school I went to, Lyon 3, it has this program called the SELF program, and that basically stands for Studying English in Lyon, France. So basically you're put in this program with I think around like 50 other study abroad students from all over the world, and you guys take classes together, which the classes are taught in English, but at the same time you're also required to take like a French language course and like a French culture and civilization course, which helps to improve your French. And I just thought this program would be really beneficial for me because it's like I wanted to go to France to be immersed in like French culture and to also learn French, but I didn't want to like only take classes that were taught in the French language because my French wasn't that great. So the SELF program, I think it's perfect for people who like speak like a little bit of French or like kind of familiar with French but maybe not like fluent. And it's a really good program to like introduce you to France and like meet other study abroad students and also like other French people. The first few weeks I just remember being so like exhausted and overwhelmed because of the language difference, and it really made me aware of like how behind I was in my French and like how much more of my French I need to improve. Because I just feel like back home, like when you do language courses back home, like you do like a lot of like verb conjugation and like you like practice sentences that you don't really speak in real life. Like I feel like back home it's very formal and you learn like you get really good at like writing, like I don't know, I just feel like you get very good at like conjugating verbs and like making like writing sentences that you don't really use in real life. But like I was never really taught how to converse in French and like how to like listen to French people and like respond to them. And I became very aware of like how much my conversational French skills needed to improve like my first few weeks there, because like I don't know, like in class you'll learn like how to say like how old are you, like ask someone how old are they in French, or like what's their birthday, just like stuff like that. But it's like in real life you don't really say that in real life, you know? And yeah, I'm really happy that I went to Lyon and I did the program that I did in Lyon instead of like going to Paris, because I just feel like if I had went to Paris, like I like how with Lyon they have the SELF program, which is like designed for study abroad students all over the world to like come together and kind of like navigate the study abroad experience together, and it's a really good way to meet people. Versus like if I had went to school in Paris, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. Like I feel like I don't know, I feel like I would have just felt very alone and very like you'd have to like really go out of your way to meet people, especially like other study abroad students, because in like the Paris schools you're just with the other French people, versus like in the Lyon, the SELF program, I was with other study abroad students. And also the good thing about the SELF program is like first semester you can take courses with the with other study abroad students, and then second semester you can take courses with French people. So it's like you're not just stuck like taking English speaking courses all throughout your time abroad. Another reason why I really like the SELF program was because during class discussions we would talk about a topic from our country's perspective, and it was just so interesting to like hear about like a certain topic from like everyone's perspective. So for example, like I would talk about Canada's perspective, and like some people would talk about like maybe Germany's perspective, or like people from the Scandinavian countries, like they would give like their perspective, and people from like Australia, New Zealand would give their perspective, their country's perspective. And I just thought that was like so interesting, and I just really enjoyed class discussions because they were just so engaging and interesting. And even like the professors, like I had a professor who was Irish, but she like worked as a lawyer in London and also South Africa, and that was just so cool. I also had a professor from America and like a professor from France. It was just like so interesting, and it's like I don't get that back home, which is why I study abroad. It's such a like cool, unique experience. Like it's just so unique. Like never again, I don't think ever again will I ever be in a situation with like so many, or like an environment with so many different people from all over the world. So I documented my experience in France by making some videos. And I also had a journal that I wrote in once a month. Regarding the journal, I'm really grateful that I journaled my experience there, because there's just so many things that you forget about like after time. Like there's just so much that happens that if you don't write it down, like you're gonna forget about. It's just so cool to look at where I was at like September 2018 and like what was going on in my life and like what my concerns were, and to just see like how I progressed in France and like how I got like more comfortable speaking French and like more comfortable in the city. And I feel like journaling is just such a perfect way to document it. And personally, like I don't enjoy journaling. Like I don't like the feeling of feeling forced that I have to do something, but I'm so grateful that I did it. And like I would recommend anyone who is studying abroad to journal. Like in the moment you might not enjoy doing it, but you will be so grateful like when you can look back at like where you were at like a few months ago or like years ago, and like compare it to like where you're at now, and just to like see the progression, because it's just so easy to forget about how far you've come, especially like if you're trying to learn a different language, or like if you're just in a country with a very different culture from your home country. The progression is just like so cool to see. Also, friendship wise, I feel as though like it wasn't difficult to make friends studying abroad for me, just because because of the program I was in, like we were all like from all over the world, and we were all just like eager to meet people, so that was really helpful. But also like it's because like if you go to a country where you don't speak that native language, so many people will want to practice their English with you. And like for example, my school, we had, I forgot what it was called, but I think it was just called like language exchange or something, where it was like this online system that would like match you with people who wanted to learn English, and like you could like select the language you wanted to learn. So for me, I selected French, and I met like so many French students through that way. And it's also like a way to make friends with people. So when I got there, I had to do like a bunch of things, like opening up a bank account, or like setting up my insurance, my room insurance, and like stuff regarding my residence. Like that first week when I was there, I remember I struggled so much to speak French, and I was just so overwhelmed because I was like, I just have so much work to do, and like low-key questioning like why did I sign up to be here for 1 year, just because like my French was so behind, and I was like, I have so much work to do to get to like a conversational level. So like the first week, I just remember struggling a lot. Like when I was opening up my bank account, I don't even know what he was saying, and his English wasn't that great. So yeah, I honestly don't even know what he was saying when I opened my bank account. But then I remember the last week, like when I had to close everything, so when I had to close my bank account and like leave my residence and like cancel my phone plan, I just remember I was able to do that completely on my own and like speak like fluent French to them. And I just remember feeling so proud of myself, because I just felt like I had made it so far from literally like not being able to like put together a sentence in French to like completely being able to have conversations with people in French and like not have them switch to English, because that's something like they do. Like if they notice that your French isn't that great, they'll just switch to English. But like when I was like closing my bank account, like we just spoke fluent French with each other, and like when I was leaving my residence, like we just spoke fluent French together. And yeah, I was just very proud of myself. So next is the advice I would give to future study abroad students who are going to France, or like who are going to a country where the native language or the official language is not English. The number one thing that I would tell anyone who's going to France and whose French is not like that great is to listen to French and like whatever you do a lot in. So like if you like watch a lot of Netflix, then listen to the show like in French and like have like English subtitles, or do it like the other way around. Or like if you listen to podcasts, find some French podcasts. One podcast that really helped me improve my French, it's called Inner French. I think he makes YouTube videos. He has his podcast on Spotify, and then he also has like a website that has like the like written down like words, like whatever it's called, like the transcript of like what of his podcast, and like that's so helpful because he just like talks at a speed that you can understand, but at the same time it's like not too easy, because I feel like with a lot of like French videos that are geared towards like people trying to learn French, they just speak so like unrealistically slowly to the point where it's like in real life people don't speak this slowly, so it's not that beneficial. But then like in our French, he speaks like realistically, like how you would converse in that language, like a bit, like maybe like a bit slower, but it's like realistic, and he talks about topics that like you would talk about in real life. I feel like it's so beneficial for like improving your French listening comprehension, and it's very realistic. Like that's what I like about it, is like the way he talks is like when I was in France, like this is how French people talk, versus like in class, like when they do like those listening comprehension activities, like they just aren't that beneficial because like French people don't talk like this. But yeah, like whatever you do a lot of in English, like listening to music, Netflix, like YouTube, like just find the French alternative. Also stuff like Duolingo, like I don't think it's that beneficial because like it improves your vocabulary a lot, but it doesn't really teach you how to converse in French, and like that's like what you want to be good at. Like when you're moving to like a French country, like you want to learn how to converse in that language. And I feel like improving your vocabulary, like you're not really learning like how to like put sentences together and like how to just like listen to French people and like respond back in like a timely manner. It just like helps you with like vocabulary and stuff like that, which isn't really that beneficial. So that's why I say like whatever you do in English, like if you watch a lot of YouTube in English, or like you watch a lot of Netflix in English, or you listen to a lot of English music, just find the French alternative, because there's a lot of French YouTubers and there's a lot of French podcasts and a lot of French on Netflix. So yeah, it's not that hard to find the alternative. So the next thing that I really wish someone told me was that if you have any like prescriptions, like prescription creams or like medicines, even if you haven't used them for a long time, bring them with you just in case. So I say that because I have eczema, and like where I went to university, like the city I went to university, it's pretty humid. So my eczema, like when I was over there, it was like I never had any flare-ups. I honestly just forgot that I had eczema. But then when I went to France, because the climate is so much more different and it's so much like more like hot, like I don't know, I just like didn't realize how hot France was compared to like Canada. It's just so much hotter over there, and I didn't even take that into consideration. But yeah, my eczema was really awful in France. It was just like really hard for me to find the correct product, and I just tried out so many brands and like nothing really helped. And yeah, my eczema just got so bad from like second semester till I left. It was just awful, like my eczema, like, and it like spread to my face. Whereas in Canada, like I've never had eczema on my face, but then when I was in France, like it spread like all over my face, and it was just so bad and like painful. And I really wish I had brought my prescription cream. So yeah, my advice would be like if you have any prescriptions, even if you haven't used them in a long time, bring them with you. Like bring like a new package with you, because yeah, you will thank yourself for it. Even if you don't use it, like it's better to have it than to like not have it and struggle to find like the alternative. So the next piece of advice that I would give to like study abroad students in general is like before you go, or like the day you get there, like write down everything you're experiencing, and like write down like what you're excited for and like what you're scared about or nervous about, and like everything you want to do during your study abroad experience. Like write that down on a piece of paper or like in your journal, because like when you leave, it's so cool to see like what you were going through. I would advise like everyone, especially like if you're not into journaling, at least write down on a piece of paper or like on your phone, like in the notes app, write down like what, like just like your current mindset, just because like it's just so cool to reflect on and to see how much you progressed and like where you were at a few months ago, because you like honestly forget, like so much happens that you kind of just forget. Another piece of advice that's really helpful is that when you land at the airport, you can get like a SIM card, so that you can have a French phone number or like the phone number of the country that you're studying abroad in. So for me, like when I landed in France, I didn't know about that. So it took me like, I think like 2 days to finally get a French phone number, but they sell the SIM cards at the airport. Like they're so easy to find. Like you can ask anyone, but just like get a SIM card and like put it in your phone, and now you have a French number. Just so like you have a way of like contacting people, and people have a way of contacting you right away, and like you don't have to like delay it. Another thing is have a way of documenting the trip. Like have a way of like holding yourself accountable to doing something like consistently as a way to like document the trip, because you will thank yourself later for it. I took a few videos of like what it was like to study there, or just like of the city, and I love just like going back and looking at the videos, and I'm so grateful that I took them. And it was literally just for fun, but now like I don't know, I'm just so grateful I took them. So my advice is like have a way of like documenting the experience. Also, I feel like overpacking, at least for me, it's kind of inevitable. I guess like some people are like underpackers, but I'm an overpacker. And like I don't know, there's nothing I can do to not overpack. Like I just overpack so much. But my advice would be like, if you're an overpacker, like every like item you put in your luggage bag, acknowledge that you might not be coming home with it, because you're probably gonna like buy stuff over there. So yeah, just acknowledge the fact that this might not come home, and if you're not okay with that coming home, like don't take it. Like you don't need it. There's a lot like you don't need, honestly. So my next piece of advice is for if you're going to a country where the official language is not English, you should look into babysitting. So I use this I went on this website called Speaking Agency, and it's so simple, and it just matches you with families who want an English speaking, usually they want like an English speaking study abroad student to help teach English to their children, and basically like just babysit their children, but like you speak English. I also felt like it was a way for me to improve my French, because you the kids will speak in French with you, and also the parents will probably speak in French with you, so it's just another way for you to improve your French and also earn money. And my final piece of advice would be just to be very, very, very friendly and very extroverted. Like kind of like I feel like you just have to force yourself to just like become an extrovert during your study abroad experience, because I just feel like you're automatically like interesting. Like when you speak to like the native people of the country, you're kind of like automatically just interesting because you're from a different country. And like honestly, like you never know like where the friendship could go. Like I remember like on 2 separate occasions I had asked one of my classmates like, hey, do you want to get coffee? And like both of those girls became like my best friends on the trip, like just from me spontaneously just being like, hey, like do you want to get coffee? So yeah, my advice would be just to be super friendly and extroverted, because like I don't know, that's something you'll never regret. Like you'll never regret like just being extroverted, but I kind of regret like being a bit too introverted. But anyways, thank you for watching my video. I don't know if people are even going abroad this year because of the pandemic, but I hope that this can help someone in the future who is thinking about studying abroad in France, or like just in general. Bye.